Shalom. I want to first start off giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. These are the men that taught us this truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect. Okay, this video or lesson is going to be done to push the spirit of to have mercy on your brother, that is, have mercy upon the brothers, when brothers go off and make mistakes, because, we all are really jacked up in this flesh, and we all, go off, and we all make mistakes. We do fuck up, from time to time. And this video is just going to be to exhort the spirit of or encourage the spirit to have mercy, man, amongst the brothers, of course. And what gave me the idea to do this video was watching the Apostle Rakah, I believe one of the last videos he did called Mercy Part 2. And it was beautiful how the spirit worked, because the scripture that you see before you, or the scriptures that you see before you, I had just read this account a day before listening to the Apostle Rakah video. And it made me say that'll be a good account to go into, which I'm going to read it in just a little bit. A good account to go into dealing with pushing the spirit to have mercy. So I'm going to read this account dealing with Yahweh Shai. Really is speaking right here for the most part. Him and a lawyer, and I'm sure I'll quote some scriptures. I don't think I'm gonna bring out the precepts, but I will roughly paraphrase some precepts, Lord willing. So Lord willing, this video is edifying, and I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. This is Luke chapter 10 verse 25, and it reads, "And behold, a certain lawyer stood up and tempted him." It's talking about a certain lawyer stood up and tempted Yahweh Shai, meaning tried to test Yahweh Shai, okay, saying, "Master, what shall I do to inherit eternal life?" And he said, and I'll say this, a lot of the lawyers were Pharisees. They believed in the afterlife. They believed in reincarnation. They believed in spirits, okay, versus the Sadducees. They did not, they only believed in the law. Okay, they didn't believe in the rising being, someone rising from the dead, and really the spiritual realm. And if you read in Acts, the 23rd chapter, I cannot think of the verse off the top of my head. It goes into how there was a dissension between the Pharisees and the Sadducees when they brought Paul before the judgment seat about what he was preaching, the resurrection of Yahweh Shai. Okay. Anyway, back to the this account. It says in verse 26, Luke 10 and 26, it says, "He said unto him," so this lawyer, okay, which the Levites were the lawyers, okay, and they were on this over-righteous shit too. But I'll get to that in just a second. It says, "And he said unto him, What is written in the law? How readest thou?" And he was basically saying, you know the law. You know what's written in the law. You know what it say. Okay. And he answering said, "Thou shalt love the Lord thy power with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy strength, and with all thy mind, and thy neighbor as thyself." So what he was saying was that keep the law, okay, that you must keep this law, okay, because what is the first, basically that's the first commandment, okay, and how do you do that? How do you show them the Lord that you love him with all your heart and your mind? Is that you keep the laws, okay? You keep the law, statutes, and commandments. We know that we do it to the best of our ability. We cannot do it perfectly, okay? So that's what he was saying. He was saying that basically you keep the law. Okay. And it reads, and he said unto him, thou hast answered right, do, and thou shalt live. And then it said, go, but he willing to justify himself said unto Yahushua, and who is my brother? So now he's really getting, where it says, he willing to justify himself, meaning he got on some over righteous shit. So you can understand. Okay. Who is my brother? He was basically asking a rhetorical question. He was basically saying the ones that keep the law perfect, okay, are my brothers, okay, even though he asked a question, okay. I'll read it again, but he willing to justify himself or to sound right or to be righteous, to make himself sound righteous, okay, said unto Yahushua, who is my brother? I mean, my neighbor. Okay. Because the lawyers, which were a lot of the lawyers were, some were Pharisees, but they dealt with those were the Levites. Okay. And, the Sadducees and the Pharisees was on some being over righteous and looking down upon the Israelites that were perceived to be sinners, publicans, prostitutes, okay? And they were acting like they shit didn't stink, like they didn't commit sin, okay? And the scriptures tell us that the scriptures concluded that we are all under sin. Okay, through the words of Paul. All right, reading on, it says, and Yahushua answering said, so now Yahushua is going to go into basically a little parable. And Yahushua answering said, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves, which stripped him of his raiment and wounded him and departed, leaving him half dead. And this is really representing the state of Israel, you know, us being under these curses, being in this flesh, okay, not being able to keep the law perfect. It says, and by chance there came down a certain priest that way. Now you had the chief priest, okay. You had the priests and the chief priests. You had the Sadducees, the Pharisees. Okay, you had the lawyers. Okay. And it's a reason why it's saying priest right here in this parable. As we read on, it says, and by chance there came down a certain priest that way. And when he saw him, the man that went from Jerusalem. Okay, Jerusalem represent the ones that know that they Israelites supposedly keeping the law, down to Jericho. Okay, and it says, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side, meaning he seen the man that was beaten half to death. Okay, and this is an analogy. Okay, this is what a priest did. Okay, and what does this represent? That the priest, okay, the chief priest, you know, even the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the lawyers, which a lot of the lawyers and chief priests were part of the Sadducees and Pharisees, okay, or Pharisees and Sadducees, okay, and it says he just passed them up because they were coming in that spirit of over righteousness, okay, as if they didn't need, they didn't have no sin, okay. They say he passed them up. So in reading on, it says, and likewise a Levite. Now, what do the Levite represent? The lawyers, the ones that that's over the law, right? It says, when he was at the place, came and looked on him and passed by on the other side. So he passed up the man that was beaten half to death with his raiment stripped off of him, which represents Israel really in its jacked up state. And we all need, well, I'll just say that, okay? And just passed him up, didn't help him. Okay, it says, but a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was. So really, Yahushua cut him, and he was really referring to the scribes and the Pharisees, the Sadducees, okay? And the ones that were not trying to help the people, okay, instead looking down on Israelites as if they were righteous, completely righteous, and the average Israelite out there, you know, we're like the publicans and the sinners, okay? They were just shitting on them, so you can understand, okay? And I'll read on. It says, but a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion on him, and went to him and bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine, and set him on his own beast, and brought him to an inn, and took care of him. And on the morrow, when he departed, he took out 2 pence, and gave them to the host, and said unto him, take care of him, and whatsoever thou spendest more, when I come again, I will repay thee. And that really represents Yahushua, okay? Because you had back during that time, like I've been saying in this video, the wicked scribes and Pharisees. If I didn't specify that, Salakia, wicked scribes, Pharisees, and the Sadducees, which you know, the scribes. Anyway, the lawyers was part of the lawyers were the Levites, okay, and they were just passing up, giving them what they needed to basically they didn't have no mercy, man. They was on this over righteous shit. Anyway, this is Yahushua saying, well, Yahushua is bringing out this part of the parable, really referring to himself, that he had compassion on the thief that was stripped of his raiment and beaten damn near half to death. But let me finish reading this. So Yahushua had compassion and bound up the wounds and took care of them. It says, which now of these 3 thinkest thou was neighbor unto him that fell among the thieves? And he said, he that showeth mercy on him. Then said Yahushua unto him, go and do thou likewise. So the whole point of what Yahushua was saying is to get off this tip as if you're so righteous and have mercy on our people, man. Okay, and in this case, you know, I'm pushing out the spirit of brothers to have mercy. You know, we are to have mercy upon one another, man, and not be so quick to kick a brother down when he fuck up, but have mercy and compassion on him. Not meaning that the brother not gonna get punished or penalized or rebuked or reproved, but just to even though those things are gonna happen, we still have to have mercy, because what did Yahushua say? He said that I believe the Pharisees, the scribes and Pharisees, they omit the weightier matters of the law, which is judgment, mercy, and faith. Judgment, mercy, and faith. Okay? And I'm focusing on the part about the mercy. Okay? So, you know, don't get on that over righteous tip as if you're so on point, because like the Apostle Ricard said, you looking, you know, basically acting like your shit don't stink and you don't make mistakes and you don't fuck up. You will end up in a bad position with Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, with that mentality, man. You'll be the one that fuck up and make a mistake and go off, and then you'll get dealt with accordingly, you know? So just, you know, we all have to have that spirit of mercy, you know? So once again, this was just a video just to exhort and push the spirit of to have mercy amongst the brothers, you know, of course. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying. and exhorting. I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory once again to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. These are the men that taught us this truth through the Spirit. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, and Shalom.